please, when rather than
We
having.
go. We're ready to start.
Sorry, it's me, yeah. Sorry, I'll let you go. That's just a thought.
I will now present, by way of a diversion, Miss Margaret Rutherford's Guide to a Successful Marriage. First and foremost, marry a much younger man.
I married an archaeologist. The older I get, the more interested in me he becomes.
Tuft is 7 years my junior. Quite the catch, I'm sure you will agree.
Oh, sorry, terribly sorry. Dry up here, isn't it?
He's,
Carry on, do continue.
he's the eternal boy.
But menfolk don't have the same things to contend with as we women do.
Make sure he's more than a husband.
An arrangement. You have to decide to compromise.
He should be a friend.
An adequate
An adequate cook, yes. He should be a friend, an adequate cook, a brother, a dear little.
Learn how to turn a blind eye.
Enjoy each other's companionship, relish in it.
Choose someone who won't leave.
Go for long walks. Enjoy a love of poetry. It's so good for the breathing and the soul. And although sharing is the lifeblood of marriage, be comfortable apart, safe in the knowledge that your union is solid. I like to take regular breaks at a health spa. I go alone. It refreshes the spirit.
Protect one another. In the public eye, this is crucial.
I face cruelty on a daily basis. A journalist once said of me that if I were to be transformed into a gargoyle at Notre Dame Cathedral, I'd make the rest of them look like Audrey Hepburn. There's seldom a day goes by that Stringer doesn't praise my glorious physicality. He admires my body. I know he's doing it to make me feel better, but I also know that I am beautiful in so many ways. On the outside, I'm Miss Margaret Rutherford. Inside, I'm Jane Russell.
Don't be afraid to enjoy the company of other members of the opposite sex.
Or have one's head turned by a dashing stranger.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I have danced with princes, been romanced by maestros, all harmless, more or less. The pursuit of beauty is a natural compulsion.
If you can be bothered with that sort of thing.
And finally, sleep alone, always.
Absolutely.
Follow these few simple rules and a lifetime of bliss awaits you.
It does.
Oh, yes, it truly does.
Darning someone else's socks, fathoming out balanced recipes for 3 square meals a day, week in, week out, ignoring the abundant passage of early hours gas under the quilt, pretending to be interested in the mutterings of the male species. No. In my humble opinion, the very notion of marriage is far less digestible than murder. Which is ironic, as it so often leads to murder. Well, that isn't to say I haven't, well, you know, probably more gentlemen callers than the two of them put together. Well, there was a war on. I felt I had to play my part when it came to comforting our brave. Line.
So to resume our tale, my dears.
So to resume our tale, my dears.
A pair of famous ladies.
A pair of famous ladies have reluctantly become acquainted, dare I say, friends, through the imagined forces of a spinster with a flair for the grisly. Despite the anticipated pattern of events, they become acquainted, dare I say, friends. They spend time together, and Agatha, her brilliant mind firing on all cylinders, inches slowly closer to the truth, to Peggy's truth, which, I'm sure you've fathomed for yourselves already, involves murder most foul, a terrible crime committed within her own family. Such a nuisance about their little falling out. I feel the urge to meddle once again. Well, needs must, otherwise we'll be here all night.
There again, Toft, in the shadow of the tamarind tree. The air is thick with heat, humid, not a trickle of a breeze, every leaf deathly still. And then, a knocking, and suddenly I'm in the hallway of Aunt Bessie's house in Wimbledon, going to open the heavy oak front door. And I'm happy. Oh, very happy. At that moment I haven't a care, not a single one. And yet, as my trembling hand reaches for the handle, I feel a creeping sense of dread. Toft. Toft! Oh, hello, Minnie. Oh, that's right. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yes. Daddy has an appointment in town with Johnny Gielgud. Dear Uncle Johnny. You remember him, don't you? Oh, you have such fun with him. The way he uses that silly little voice. And he pretends to throw you across the room until I squeal. Oh, yes, he's such a tease, isn't he? I wish Stringer were here. Today's scenes have been particularly grueling. I told them as much. But they thought I was just being difficult because, as Pearl says, that's how they expect actresses to behave. But I never would. The violence is mounting, Minnie, as I feared, as I knew it would. Oh, all those dreadful happenings, what it's stirring up. I can't ignore it. Today, I shall find a woman of approximately my own age, steward to her favourite seat with a hat pin. Oh, I can scarcely believe that the genteel lady who would tell me saucy jokes and eat the last of my brandy snaps, the last of my brandy snaps, would be capable of such invention.
Oh, you don't know the half, my dear.
I know more than I care to. She'd kill anything for a good story. I perused the reading material she left me. My dreams were far worse after that.
You are in the wars, aren't you?
I don't wish to speak to you especially.
Well, like it or not, you are. And about time too.
I shall never tell anyone. I can't. It's impossible. Not even Minnie. To explain it would feed it. It would be another way of losing everything. Toft has come closest. But he doesn't understand really. Oh, he says he does, but it's clear in his eyes that he doesn't. Stringer and I, we have such history, he says. History, it makes us strong. Well, nobody wants a past. We want a future. Even at my age. Oh, I wish Stringer would hold me sometimes, touch me.
Fine.
You miss Agatha.
You miss Agatha, don't you?
Well, mini Mrs. Agatha, I'm not sure that I do. Caught her crying like that, I was agitated in the extreme. I'm afraid I used some ireful terminology.
It's what you needed.
There's no turning back after a scene like that.
Nonsense. Letting out a bit of steam, that's all.
Oh, I wonder who that could be, Lily. Shall we go and find out? Oh, yes. Come along, Lily. Oh,
Lovely flowers.
oh yes. Aren't they just? And there's a card too. Oh, a sincere apology.
And an invitation to take tea.
Claridge's. Oh, beautiful scones and a gooseberry conserve. Oh, most acceptable. But she's getting too close.
Would that be such a bad thing?
She's clever, that one. The way she looks at me. Her looks. Oh, but perhaps.
Good girl.
Aunt Bessie always knows best.
Is there going to be some music there?
Yes, there will be.
Oh.
I started this quest to serve my own ends. When you're right, you're forever honing in on possibilities. When the antennae tune in, you can't stop it. You steal fragments of people's lives and stitch them together. The friendship has become genuine. I hope she knows that. But the scent of a story beckons me on. Peggy as a young child, plus some undisclosed event that merges to make up Margaret Rutherford. This is the formula I need to crack. There's so much more to her than the warmly bundled bulldog, adored by so many.
Of course, Lillian Bayliss gave me Lady Capulet, where I could do least damage, as she said under her brandy breath. I still could. Of course, I wasn't one of her favourites, not one of the girls she took into her inner sanctum and prayed with. But I should have played Juliet. the emotional capacity.
When was this?
1926.
But you'd have been 30 odd in 1926.
Beauty and innocence come from within. My Juliet would have distracted the audience from the physical presence. And besides, I didn't look too much different when I was 16. When one's born with a face like mine, one simply has to embrace it, learn to live with it.
Take it on a wobbly chin.
Cheers to that. Cheers.
I have missed you.
You know, this has been the most delicious afternoon tea. I insist on paying.
Oh, no, I insist on Agatha Christie paying. Well, Agatha Christie Limited, that is. I have discreet expense accounts all over town. Never questioned. The corporate buffoons wouldn't dare.
Gooseberry jam. Do you suppose they sell it?
I very much doubt Claridge's would do anything so heroic.
No, of course not. Such a pity.
But there's plenty left. Slip it in your bag. Go on.
Agatha, I couldn't.
Oh, go on, I won't tell.
There's so much in here that might spoil it would spill.
Well, wrap it up, tuck it in a napkin.
What, and steal that as well?
Yes. They won't mind, and nobody will suspect a couple of pensioners of pilfering. Especially not a couple of dignified and famous as we are.
Oh dear.
It's nice to see you happy.
Well, why wouldn't I be happy? When am I not happy? As long as there's a sea to swim in and a poetry book to devour.
I've had a wonderful life.
I've had a wonderful life, as Margaret Rutherford. I told you, didn't I, about that delicious Elizabeth Taylor and the delightful Richard Burton.
Darling,
Agatha, please.
when I said I wanted to help,
Please, I implore you.
it's because I understand.
I don't need any help. I am fully in control of my own fate.
I have secrets too. One that remains a mystery to this day. I have never told anyone, well, not the truth. But the thing is, years ago, the same year you were so desperate to play Juliet, well,
Edith Evans was in the same company. She thought I could play it too. She said as much.
I disappeared, vanished, quite completely.
But you had to be careful with Evans because she had a propensity to steal the scenes and roles. She got to Cleopatra before me. Not one of her best.
They said I did it for the book sales. Rot. I never needed any help in that department.
In fact, one could say of Edith Evans' performance as Cleopatra that it was deafen the Nile. Oh, but forgive me, I'm being wicked.
11 days, without a trace. Nobody's ever known where I went.
Well, you don't have to tell me, you know.
It became a matter of national concern. It was discussed in Parliament. The government recruited other crime writers to help. Dottie Sayers used my disappearance as the inspiration for one of her novels. I didn't begrudge her that. So many original ideas, so few original ideas of her own. She was welcome to it. I wrote to her and told her that. She didn't write back. Why?
Of the 36 ways.
Of the 36 ways of avoiding disaster, running away is not the best.
Line, I know I've got one.
Do you want to hear Margaret's truth?
If you want to hear Margaret's truth, you need to face your own. Tell her, Agatha. Tell her now.
I was undercover. I ran away to the circus as a lady lion tamer, No one suspected that under the big top hid a highly organised band of Bolsheviks headed up by a 42-stone bearded lady.
Oh, you really are droll, Agatha dear. Oh, is that the time? It passes so quickly when we're together. I really should be going.
Don't you want to hear the rest?
Oh, well, Stringer will be preparing supper. He can't manage the tin opener. He doesn't have the wrist action.
But I know about secrets. How terrible they can be.
You're incorrigible, Agatha.
I suppose, to invent something as lurid as that, the real secret must be quite dreadful.
If you want to know
Not
your...
as daft.
No, not as daft as she pretends, is she?
Some things are best buried.
Some things are best buried, kept hidden. They should never be talked of or seen again. Maybe that is the only way that you can assure them that things will not happen again.
Well, that could have gone better.
You've only got yourself to blame.
Oh, get on with your knitting, old woman.
If you want... Is that... Fine.
I've never been one to mince.
I've never been one to mince my words, but if you can't face your own... if you can't
Be honest.
be honest with yourself, how can you expect others to?
Well, as it happens, I've been putting the pieces together without Margaret's help. I've been taking notes carefully during our meetings, and I've also discovered certain facts by adding up fractions of information. The health spa, she tells me she's so fond of frequenting.
I always emerge from there refreshed and ready to face the world. I swear it's what's given my career its longevity.
A sanatorium, depression, electrotherapy. I suppose to lead sheet. Carol, so, I
Yeah,
suppose
you started to, you need to wait until
sorry,
they-
I completely forgot.
It's alright, don't worry. So there will be some music.
I come off, don't I?
Yeah, at the end of, so at the end of the carriages,
Yeah,
when you go off,
yeah,
backstage will come on
yeah.
and
And then I
strike
come
what
back
they
on.
need to and put everything else into place, and then there'll be music.
My fault, guys, sorry. Because we changed it, didn't we? And I completely forgot.
It's alright, don't worry, don't worry. It's what rehearsals are for.
What will be the cue to start the scene?
So, what page are we on? June, please.
46.
So, it's at the end of, she's at the top of 45, some things are best buried hidden, some things can't, shouldn't be, perhaps it's the only way to make sure they won't happen again. Yeah, that's the end of Claridge's. So the music needs to come on there, please, Mark.
What's the cue for the beginning of the next scene?
That could have gone better.
You've only got yourself to blame.
Well, what's the cue for them to say that? How will we know when the scene change is finished?
If you put the light on, I'll come on.
Well, once
Yeah.
the stage crew have done what they need to do and gone off, that's
So
the
they'll only
cue.
come on once, they won't go off and come back on again?
No, so once they've gone off, they'll, the scene can start.
Okay.
Sue, they do go off briefly to take things off, so it's when the hamper is in place.
Not now, it's fine.
Ian goes off and comes back on. I stay on.
Oh, you stay
Yeah,
on,
one
right, sorry.
stays on.
Yeah.
This is the bit we've got to get right.
Yeah. So,
I won't do all of that because I'm conscious.
so at the
I
end
didn't have to
of,
go.
so on page 45, Margaret says, perhaps it's the only way to make sure they won't happen again. The Miss Marple music comes on. It goes down at the back, the lights go down at the back like it happened. The stage crew will come on.
I'll have to put some different lights on just for this.
Oh, okay, alright,
I'll try to cue in there.
okay. place, that's them done and they've gone off. And then the scene 4 will start, and Anna says that could have gone better. So when she comes on, the music can. Are you taking a coat off or anything?
No.
What about your shawl?
Oh yes, I will.
You
I'll
take
have
the
my
fur-
shawl and
so
then I'll
she's
come and
taking
take it
the
off,
fur-
yeah.
She's taking the fur coat off. So. That's it.
That could have gone better.
Yeah.
You've only got yourself to blame.
I was just going to jump because of
Yeah.
Jump to a sanatorium.
a sanatorium, depression, electrotherapy. There's something she wants so desperately to I get out to think, burn from her memory. She's willing to fry her brain. She also collects things. She not only collects things, people too. A set of suspect hangers-on chosen with myopic abandonment. Gordon Langley Simmons, a minor novelist with the knack for preying on wealthy dowagers, a self-proclaimed hermaphrodite.
A very expensive business.
To which you no doubt contributed.
She's a medical anomaly.
And then there was a pianist.
Oh, a maestro, a genius.
Peggy was besotted by him, another foolish affair of the heart.
He led me on in Denmark, not very gentlemanly.
And then a set of rough and ready postal boys.
Stringer's choice.
And an unusual brush with royalty.
The story of Miss Margaret Rutherford and the Prince.
A beguiling romance. Prince Juan of Jordan, practically bronze, blonde and beautiful, practically waltzed into my life at a time when I must admit I was in need of a little smattering of blue wonderment. The youngest son, the younger brother of King Hussein of Jordan, regrettably estranged, he swept into my dressing room with a flourish. And so began a magnificent, magical carpet ride to lands and experiences I had never even imagined. He entertained us with tales of his youth, of glorious temples and opulent palaces, and I danced with him whenever the opportunity arose. He often joined us for our 3 a.m. suppers. I did wonder how it was that a Muslim could so heartily tuck into bacon, but I suppose that he would sacrifice even his fundamental principles to appear polite. And the champagne, that gave one pause to thought too. But then he could get away, he could get through gallons of the stuff. But then there were occasions when it would seem vulgar not to. He would lavish us with gifts by way of thanking us for our generosity. He delighted in giving us little silver trinkets, and he even gave us dear Nicodemus. Oh yes, he gave us the cat. So desperate was he to be part of our lives that he gave us the cat so that wherever we went, a part of him would be always with us. Oh, but it's the dancing I remember the most. Oh, he'd hold me in his arms, and there would be magic in the air until midnight struck. We called the Jordanian embassy, were told bluntly there was no Prince Juan, and he hadn't even left a slipper on the stair.
Silver Al, as they called him on the black market. Do you want to skip this bit?
Yeah, can do. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
the
we
whole
did it earlier.
Do you want to skip the whole scene
Yeah.
and go on to the next one?
Yeah, we'll skip.
Can we check that the music's alright?
yeah,
Just the lens.
yeah.
Linda, they're skipping this scene and going on to scene 7, which is you're sitting by the having tea.
Can we not change the cocktail party scene? Is it that's what it is? Maybe
Yeah.
not.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Linda's got to go, so
Yeah.
we're doing her scene. We could do it afterwards, but we need to sort this out.
We're just testing the levels for the music, the sound.
Yeah. Hang on a minute, we have to wait. I'm going to be sitting here, aren't I?
And will that slowly, that'll go down a little bit, will it, Mark? So it starts off louder and then it goes down a little bit.
Is that loud enough for the start?
Yeah? Yeah?
Or would you want it to go down from that?
A little bit, yeah. Okay. Oh, wasn't it? It sounded like you had.
You and Margaret. I like this.
Is this a lighting room?
Wait for the light.
I like this. When we sit and say nothing.
I can't hear that at all.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Carry on.
What are you thinking?
Only how I've made murder my business over 40 years.
Well, I am, because I can't live without it. I'm sure it must be the same for you.
No, Stuart. No, I experienced murder only second hand. I'm blessed. Whatever my imagination can stir up will never be as terrible as the
Reality of life.
reality of violence. Why don't you tell us your story?
Tell me about your family.
Tell me about, I was going to say, why don't you tell us your story, but I was there. Tell me about your family, and not the stuffed imaginary, my dear. That's chatter. What's the chatter?
He was trying to get the levels right for the soiree, Jill.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Sorry.
Tell me about your family, and not the stuffed menagerie, my dear. You don't seem surprised by my question.
I was expecting it. And perhaps even hoping you would ask it.
Start by telling me about India.
We were so happy. Father, my mother Florence, as fragile as a lily, me, and there would have been. She'd wanted a boy. Near our house there was a ruined temple in a tea garden long abandoned because of a curse. And there lived a fakir who was skilled in the dark arts. My mother felt only he could help, so she went to see him at night. He gave her a snake bone to place under her pillow and told her that her wish would come true. She believed him, as did I. Oh, the garden. I still dream about it now. At the bottom of it stood a wise old tamarind tree that stretched across the red brick wall. But I was so young when they both died. More tea.
Go further back, Peggy. Tell me about your father. Why did he kill your grandfather?
I can't.
My Archie, the boy with a dimple in his chin, that was one of the things I fell immediately in love with. First sight isn't an invention of the romantics. to me. I still hear his voice, but it's cold, and it doesn't say what I want to hear. I love her, not you. Not anymore. I want a divorce. How had I failed? I devoted my life to him. What was mine was his. And my love for him, well, my success fueled my love for him. But that was what drove him away. He chose her, not me. Not the little girl that I had given him, her. She would never overshadow him. This is difficult for me. Archie passed very recently. And you see, I never truly gave up hope. Not entirely. And when his other woman died, well, I had to stop myself feeling such joy, hope. And up until that point, and since, I truly believe one must live one's life trying not to do any harm to anyone along the way. I did run away. When I vanished, there was no mystery. I knew exactly what I was doing. I fled because my heart was breaking. If I'd have stayed one night longer, well, it wouldn't have been safe. Not for me, my little girl, my Archie, my beloved. I saw inside the mind of someone who could commit an act of evil. It was my mind. I had no choice. But even after I left, I worked it all out, you see. How I could kill Archie and never be found guilty.
Where did you go?
Oh, there were days I can't recall. Pain so terrible. But when I emerged from the fog and realised that he was in the frame for my murder, well, I kept on going. I truly believed he deserved to hang for what he'd done. So, I let the case against him build, whilst I enjoyed my freedom. I came so very close to seeing it through, right to the end.
But you stopped yourself.
I was found. Archie drove all the way to Harrogate to collect me. He was a broken man. But I caught the train back home, alone.
Mm-hmm.
Nine.
So I understand.
So I understand. I know how difficult it is when you bury. No.
Some troubles become buried.
Some troubles become buried because
In order for one to
in order
survive.
for one to survive. But they can't stay there. There needs to be peace. The Reverend Julius Benn was murdered by his son, William, your father. The killing was said to be brutal. One deemed to be one of insanity. William had suffered a mental illness and was committed to Broadmoor. His wife would wait for him.
The press must never find out. It would ruin my career.
I'm sorry, it's 3:30.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's 3:30, Linda.
Right. Okay, well done.
Well done.
I'll have to. I might just about be able to finish this scene.
Do you want to finish the scene? Do you
Yes,
want to finish the
let's do
scene?
that.
You can be
Linda.
that flexible, that's fine. Yeah.
No wonder you didn't want any connection to do with murder. This must haunt you still, terribly.
Oh, no, how could it? This happened before I even existed.
Well, yes, but surely.
Oh, sorry. It's funny when we get out of it. Yes, but surely.
No, Agatha, you don't understand. How could something which happened long before I was born affect me so profoundly? No, it's not the murder that torments me. It's the ripples that flow through my life. It's what happened next that has haunted me.
Tell me.
My life has been one of illustrious diversion.
My life has been one of illustrious diversion. I expect that's why Margaret Rutherford exists, to divert. The murder committed by my father was a terrible thing, but not evil. I truly believe that.
He was incredibly ill.
And he had a second chance. It was thought he was cured. He and my mother started a new life. They were happy. I know they were. And so it should have continued. My mother took her own life, and along with that of her unborn baby.
Oh, Peggy.
Went out into the garden and hanged herself at sunset. No warning, no explanation. That set my father's illness.
Returned with a vengeance.
My father's illness returned with a vengeance after that.
What happened?
What happened?
Oh, he managed the passage back with me, a tiny bundle under his arm, somehow. He left me with Aunt Bessie before he... I don't know how he managed it. I don't know how he kept us intact.
He must have loved you very much.
Why,
I was an orphan.
I was an orphan. That much I knew. But I was happy until that Sunday afternoon.
What happened?
I was 13, almost an adult. Aunt Bessie was in the kitchen, and I knew I wasn't to answer the door under any circumstances, but, well, what could be the harm? Just this once. As I went down the hallway, there was music playing coming from the parlour. Aunt Bessie's and I's favourite song of the time. Who stole your heart away? There at the door, there stood a man in rags, skin and bones, dishevelled but not unkind. I'm here for your father, he said. He loves you. I emphatically replied, he's dead. But somehow I think I understood. All the reasons that had been given me for my orphan state suddenly started to jangle in my head. Billy Rutherford ain't dead. He's in Broadmoor.
Aunt Bess told tight-lipped.
Aunt Bess, tight-lipped at the fact that I had opened the door without
Yeah,
not
go on.
without permission. It's not without permission, is it?
That I'd opened the door to a stranger.
That I had opened the door to a stranger, decided that I needed the truth. And she told me in a fashion that I can only describe as forensic. I sat and listened, like the grown-up I'd so suddenly become.
I shed one tear.
I shed one tear when I heard about the baby, just one. And
I had questions.
I had questions, but I didn't know how to ask them, and I doubt they would have been answered.
After all these years, my dear friend.
The murder, that's been a worry.
It's the murder that's been a worry. That is what threatens Miss Margaret Rutherford. Salacious stories have so much appeal. But Peggy, who I really am, no one really knows how I feel. How frightened I've been since that moment.
happened to your father?
I was never allowed to see him again. Even once I knew the truth. If I had, I think I would have realised that no matter how cruel the world can be, one can survive it. It's in one. I find it difficult to forgive Aunt Bess for that. If I'd been allowed to see him, just once, that would have been enough. It's
My fears have always been
my fears have always been around, sorry, what's the word?
madness.
Madness, not violence. My mother and father both suffered terrible, deadly aberrations. What if the same fate awaits me?
Oh no, I'm
No,
certain.
but it's in me. It must be. It must be in me.
I need to avoid
I need to
situations.
avoid situations that would bring it back to me. I have to prevent the insanity from returning at all costs. Oh, I'd have loved a baby boy, a brother. Oh, we would have been great friends, I'm sure. We would have shared everything. But I'm blessed. I've had a wonderful life as Miss Margaret Rutherford. Wonderful.
Let me see.
You come out the door.
Yeah.
You won't.
Can we carry straight on?
Yep.
See you Tuesday, Linda.
Yeah, see
Well done, Linda. Excellent. I don't know if you remembered the month in such a short space.
I'll meet
It's-
Margaret.
Okay. It's getting late, and I promised my doctor I wouldn't strain my eyes, and I'd cut back on the old, shame on me. But I intend to respect most of this young doctor's wishes, partly for the sake of self-discipline, because where would we be without that? But also, I rather like the chap. He's got what I call staying power, something, where I'm from, the doctors have very little of. Sorry.
Who hasn't? One of the very few doctors where I'm from who hasn't been
Oh, yes.
done in or
One
hanged.
of the very few doctors where I'm from who hasn't been done in or hanged for, well, you know.
She finally got her way.
Always do.
Can't say I blame her. Murder Ahoy was the fourth and last Miss Marple feature.
Things started to descend at a staggering rate of knots. I saw that. Is that right?
Well, you missed out the farrago of nonsense.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Uh,
A farrago of nonsense. Things began to glide at a staggering rate of knots. Tolerated the first film, wouldn't see the second. After the funeral, apparently. Based on after the funeral, apparently. Well, there was a funeral right at the beginning, but that was about as near to my plot as it became. And they set it in a riding school. I said, Mr. Hall, don't kill Rutherford off with too many outdoor sports, will you? He laughed very, very nervously.
Initially, they had humoured my efforts to crank up the tension because they felt sure the laughter wouldn't be far behind. And they were correct. From the moment in the second picture when Tuft and I did that blasted twist, the crew laughed so loud I thought I was fighting a losing battle.
When I publish at Bertram's Hotel, I'm going to give it a pointed subtitle featuring the original Miss Marple as created by Agatha Christie. After all, I do have some experience with plots, dialogue, and knowing what my audience likes. The oath at NGM trampled my spinster into the ground.
Say it,
Not
dear.
Peggy.
Sorry. Say it, dear. You know you want to.
Got shit over it.
Yeah, one of you's going to have to put that stuff away into the basket as you're talking at the end of that, towards the end of that scene. Or just put it on the floor.
rather good. She really was.
And having Miss Marple in my life, this adventure's made my name bigger than I ever imagined possible. The offers of work, well, they've overwhelmed me. Mr. Orson Welles, the great Chaplin, Hollywood. I was frightfully good in the VIPs, but it was a little more than a cameo. I couldn't believe it when I actually won. Well, let me find it. Where is he, my golden boy?
You were using it as a doorstop.
Hello, Oscar. Hello, Peggy, my love. This will end up being stolen the year after I die.
Her blinkered approach to those she became close to would continue aft, beyond the grave.
After I pass, Tuft will be cajoled into marrying Violet, our 65-year-old housekeeper. He'll die before this can happen. She'll forge the will, flog a heap of valuables, jump bail, and be a wanted felon for the rest of her days. The truth.
Even I could make that up.
I will die having lost my mind. It won't be easy to begin with, like lowering yourself into a hot bath. But once I get so far, Minnie and I will sit in the sun, a breeze upon my face, my favourite poems jumbled up, a sense of contentment, of realising I had been loved, of so much forgotten, never to be recalled.
When Margaret forgets herself, I'll keep in touch by writing to Stringer, asking him to read her my letters.
Eventually I'll oh, well,
That's
that's
me.
you again, isn't it? Yeah.
Eventually, I'll lose the plot too, cast off my genteel English lady ways, cut my hair short, become honest to the point of embarrassment, and frequently try to solve the case of Lord Lucan.
Tuft's last wish will be to be buried with the sealed letter he's always carried around with him in the top pocket of his jacket, from ruddy Johnny Gielgud. Tuft's wish, unfortunately, will not be carried out. I replaced the precious letter with one of my own years ago, and it's far more colourful than Johnny's effort.
And as for my characters, my creations,
You've got a line.
I was just about to say it.
Oh, right, sorry.
Sorry.
You need to know the cause there.
The demise of the Belgian will finally become public.
I kept nipping back to the vaulted coots to change the ending. Finally, I did give him a graceful send-off. After all, he had been good to me.
Miss Marple will end up in the same vault as Poirot, but she'll survive her latest adventure. She'll continue for many decades to come.
Like me, Margaret will die a Dane.
My gong will be grounded first,
I never saw my friend again.
though I so often think of her.
And so our story reaches its conclusion. Bittersweet, unfortunately. But if there's anything my isolated life on the sidelines has taught me, there's no such thing as a truly happy ending. At best, you may find one you're able to live with.
Oh, and I did get a story in the end. During our meetings, I began to think, movie stars, such fragile creatures. I couldn't help myself. I decided to look upon it as a gift, one to honour our marvellous friendship.
The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side by Agatha Christie.
Hemlock in the cocktails.
That's the one. Look inside, go on.
For Margaret Rutherford, in admiration. How touching. It'll be some staggering work, I'm sure. Miss Marple at her very best. How thrilling. Though, of course, I'll never read it. The end.
See? Consumed by it. So just put your knitting down. When I say my character, my creation, that's your
Can we
creation.
just go back to scene 6?
Jill? Yeah?
Jill and Mel, can we just go back to for your
Yeah.
scene 6, the soiree, so that they can just...
Sure. Do you want me to get dressed up or?
No.
Okay. Good.
I might just leave my chair.
Okay.
I'll get one of these, right?
Oh,
no,
yeah,
oh.
there is one at the back. Make sure you know.
I think, yes, I think towards the end of the scene with you and Linda, it's start packing, it's kind of.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of put it in the conversation. So I'm-
Turn them on. Yeah.
She's saying about the help, the mental health is gonna get stuff.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Is it not easy just to have one more scene?
Yeah, we just do one more scene.
Like we did.
What, you made one up?
Eh?
You made one up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get them
The one that we missed out.
Should we just do that? Have a quick look then. These, I mean.
Yeah.
Just leave those there.
Oh,
Because it looks, why would we be putting those on the floor?
No, I was gonna say, but then we're gonna have a bit in your mind.
Okay.
They could
I will,
I'll ask Jill and let that Jill, she sent me a message yesterday, and I said, I'm going out shopping. Here's the list. She said, is this all right? And I went, thanks, Chris, for the
Chris.
I don't know, you have to speak to Siobhan or Ian. Siobhan, it is Siobhan. Never mind. Hey ho. So anyway, as I was saying, Fred, yes, I'll ask Jill to put them down the size.
Siobhan and Ian can
I'll
put
ask
them
Siobhan
out.
to
Oh, yeah. So station and start again.
I'll do that now.
Good, good.
I'll do it now while I think about it.
Absolutely.
The covers, can we have them at the side instead, so that they'll be put in the basket? It's just that they're having.
Siobhan, I need a big one and Marty's a bigger than it. So I start, where are we? Our scene.
It's at the end of scene 5, isn't it?
Silver Owl.
Oh, Silver.
Yeah. I think I've got to just wait, I've got to wait for the, do you want to get changed?
Well,
Alright.
Andrew's not here. Andrew on here. Andrea threatened to come.
Oh, did she?
Oh, I wonder if she can get in. She probably can't get in.
Well, she would have messaged.
What time did she say she
Carol, have you got Andrea's number?
I do, yes.
Didn't occur to me that she might not know.
What do you want me to do with the number?
She said she was going to try and come for 3:30, I think. To look at my hair and just say, oh, Jill's just realised you might be. Are you here? Can you get in?
They're going to do it. They're going to do it as a sound cue.
Oh, right, you can just call, I'm home. All right. I'm home.
They're going to do it as a sound cue because they forgot to do the second door knocking for the flowers.
Yeah,
So they're
yeah.
going to do it as a
Oh,
sound
that's
cue.
right, because that's just standing up.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah.
Hello.
Well,
Well
she-
done.
Jill had to give him a prompt for it, didn't she? Sound cue.
Carol suggests I do a bit of a Charleston. Would I be thinking and everything of a solo Charleston?
Oh, just a kick.
Just a kick.
Well, you don't really want to be there, though, do you?
Well,
At the soiree.
no, not now. At the end, I don't know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, wouldn't I have been caught doing a bit of a solo Charleston as well as a Christmas fair in Harry Potter? going to Madame Smiley now.
Well, no,
what are we
you
doing?
won't, well, you won't be at the beginning, will you?
No, I won't.
Because you don't want them to do anything with your Agatha Christie, with your marple.
Just go from soaps.
So what are we doing?
So we're going to do, so after Silver Ale
Are we doing?
and Soiree, so they get, just so that they can get the sound cue for it.
They're not there though.
They're not there though.
I'm here, I'm just,
He's just,
Oh, he's there.
he's having a,
I'm just working something out.
he's
You're
fiddling.
smoking something.
He's
Sue,
fiddling.
what is the code if Andrea needs the code?
I have no idea.
1463.
1463, okay.
I've got that fobby
No,
thing.
no, it's all right.
Yes, I have as well,
Just
which is
tap
why
them
I asked.
So I don't know.
Oh,
So we nearly did that, didn't we? So we have
Somebody's going to die.
I know. It'll probably be me.
who do those, and then a team of directors come out of that, and then
So she's done a Prince thing.
She's done her waltzing.
Yeah.
he leads the technical.
Is Bob doing the lights or not?
I don't know if Bob's there.
Siobhan who's backstage.
Bob's not there.
Leads-
Should we just crack
leads
on?
all the props. Yeah, so there's props cupboards here and here and all over the place.
Give you two
Yes,
minutes if you want
indeed.
to try
And then we've
something.
got some Verity, my wife, into the costume store. Show you the costume store.
Siobhan was one of the people who were saw backstage.
Yeah, she's
Too loud, man. Too loud.
I think it just establishes and then drops, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the sound cues initially will be loud
And then get quiet.
and then, yeah, or fade
So if we start the scene starts,
after she says,
yeah, that's just variations.
yeah.
Can we just do that?
Do you just want to do your last couple of lines of Silver Ale? Are you, you found out in the most strangest way,
All right.
or whatever, yeah?
When I finally started to uncover the truth, it came about quite by chance. I had been invited to a soiree. That's what it said on the invitation. A soiree. A publisher's bash. My limiters insist. This is the wrong jacket. It's my thingy. Fuck, I don't know where oh no, it is right.
That's right, yeah.
The one that goes with your frock.
I didn't know if it was my woolly thing. My limiters insisted I attend. Apparently there were some bridges to be built. But a glut of publishers in one room. What would be the collective noun for that? A defecation, perhaps? Although I have been known to use that already for agents. So, just wait a minute. I just told us to wait a bit, otherwise they'll never hear you.
Yeah,
There you go.
So as you come on, do what you did, waving to people and going up to her and then, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And as it's faded, then speak, because otherwise we won't hear you, Mel.
Sorry?
Otherwise we won't hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
So, have we known you already for ages?
Yeah.
Although I think I've used that
Oh, so I've always been such a huge fan.
Oh, how sweet.
Of course, only since Murder She Said come out. Oh, Miss Rutherford, when she pulls those faces as Miss Marple, she makes me laugh and laugh.
Turning away now.
Yes.
Do you always wear your hair like that?
Oh, yes, I do. And the shade, Autumn Conker, matches my eyes.
Good to have a few details. Because I'm going to write about you one day.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth Ben, have you an you know, what with his son Tony being a lefty. Kiddies books, that's what we do. E. Nesbit, The Railway Children, Phoenix in the Carpet, read the lot to my little ones. Oh, such a clever chap, and still ever such a good seller.
E. Nesbit is a woman.
He can't be.
And it'll be a cool day in hell before some saccharine swill tale for tots outdoes my efforts.
Of course, you know, Miss Rutherford, she's related to the Wedgwood Bens. You probably know that. And you probably know about her problems. Her poor dad. But I shouldn't gossip. Oh.
Have another glass of fizz.
It's going to my head already. But if you insist, I might as well make the most of it. I'm only in the typing pool. We drew straws to see who got to come here, and I won.
Now, Miss Rutherford's poor dad.
Oh, William Wedgwood Ben. That was his name originally, but he had to change it afterwards. Well, you would, wouldn't you? Oh, shocking business. So he became Mr. Rutherford. It was all rather gruesome, you know what he did.
Tell me.
Like something out of one of your books. Well, he got committed. Then he moved to India when he got released. He and his young wife went there together. That's where Margaret Rutherford was born.
It was time for me to leave. I started investigating the Wedgwood Bens the very next day. I have excellent resources at my disposal and a tenacious research technique. I have also managed to... I have also managed... It wasn't too long, sorry. It wasn't too long before I was able to piece together certain fractions of information. No, it wasn't too long before I discovered some scant newspaper reports and was able to piece together the tale of a terrible tragedy.
It was the son in the bedroom with the chamber pot.
A common household item used for deadly intent. He brought it down on the Reverend's head. Again, and again, and again.
Again, and again, and again.
Oh, I don't really know what it was. She won't be still carrying that glass, would she? Would she not go and put it down?
Yeah. You've put it down before, haven't you?
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Right. So when I go, so I'll go. It's my time to leave. It was my time to leave. You can come over here and put that down,
Okay, yeah.
and then go back.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just wait to a couple of people and then go and put it back.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Act while you do it.
As well.
Thing as well.
Yeah. Can we just do the end of that again, please?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, William Wedgwood Ben. That was his name originally, but you had to change it afterwards. Well, you would, wouldn't you? Oh, shocking business. It was all rather gruesome what he did, you know.
Tell me.
It's like something out of one of your books. I've got... no, sorry. Like something out...
Look down.
Huh?
Put them
Like something out of one of your books. Oh, he got committed. Then he moved to India when he got released. He and his young wife went there together. That's where Margaret Rutherford was born.
It was time for me to leave. I began investigating the Wedgwood Bens the very next day. I have excellent resources at my disposal and a tenacious research technique. It wasn't long before I discovered some scant newspaper accounts that helped me piece together the details of a terrible tragedy.
is the sand in the bedroom with the chamber pot.
A common household item used for deadly intent. He brought it down on the Reverend's head. Again, and again, and again.
Again, and again, and again.
Okay.
Do you want me to look at her when she's saying her bit, or just look forward?
Just look forward.
Okay.
Jill,
Yes.
Andrea's just said, are you still there?
Yeah.
And I said, we are for a short while.
What time is it?
She says, I'll walk, 2 minutes ago she said, I'll walk down. She
What
said,
time is it now, sorry?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Okay.
Is it 7:30 on Tuesday or 7 o'clock?
7:30 I think for you, isn't it? And for, do you want us to come early?
I think it's 7:30, isn't it? For I'm not going to go to my pottery class. I haven't got
Are you
time.
not? Shall we come at 7 then? And then Linda come at 7:30,
Yeah.
like we did last week?
Yeah. Okay. We'll
Start,
start.
Mum.
7 on
Just-
Tuesday. Do
I
you want
think
me?
just
7 or 7:30?
I need to.
I think next week we just treat it as though it's a performance.
Right.
So 7:30, please, Jude.
Okay.
So 7 for us.
7 plus.
Thanks for your
And
help.
Monday?
Not Monday.
Not Monday.
No, it's busy on Monday.
Okay.
I'll put a reminder on the
meeting?
chat.
Oh yes, we're going to see Linda tomorrow. We'll do that via
What's up?
WhatsApp.
Yeah, sure.
I think we should go to her. She's doing all the
Yes,
driving,
absolutely.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
no, that's fine.
We're going to have a script run through with Linda tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So we'll travel to her, save her coming. Okay.
Okay,
Do you
lovely.
want these back? Or
No,
should I-
you just put them somewhere safe.
Have you got a?
There is a
Where's
spanner.
my book?
You want me to run through what I've got?
Yeah.
Which you can
Very much.
say, no, I don't want that. Feel free to.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know where my notepad is. I don't know where it's gone. My added it on.
Well done. Thank you. Getting there.
It is well done now. Especially at the beginning, because there's quite a lot of distractions. Wasn't there?
So they are. Yep. It's all right.
Well, there were, yeah.
You got your notebook, did you leave it? Yeah, I'll send the photograph of the one I've got. And I mean, you know, you might want to just leave that as you want really. Okay. At the beginning, you know, or near the beginning, when Agatha Christie and Rutherford entering after the Spitzer's monologue, when the bells are tolling, that
Oh
scene.
yeah, the telephone scene.
Yeah. Should they? What happens at the moment is the lights come up and then they enter, and I wondered whether they should come on in the darkness as if scenes have been playing out, so they're actually revealed rather than enter, because it just takes time for them to
Yeah,
click
well,
on.
there's been a couple of scenes where I've said to Linda that you need to actually be coming on and
Don't wait.
speaking. Don't wait for.
Don't wait for, or don't, well, it's whether or not they wait for the lights, that's the thing. If they don't wait for the lights, they're on when the lights
The
come up.
first scene in particular, where her dream of India, I've said you need to wait, 2 or 3, 4 seconds even
Before you wake up.
before you wake up. Don't rush it, slow it down. That particularly that first scene. So, because I think Bob is still fiddling with the lights.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But it's easier for them to to actually start the scene when they're on and then the lights come on.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
They should
it
be
should-
on.
that's
They
better,
should
isn't
come
it?
on in the darkness
Yes.
and be on. And when the lights come up, they're there.
Yeah.
Rather than the lights come up and click clop,
And start
click
the
clop,
scene,
they,
yeah.
they,
Yeah.
they come on and then start the scene. So I just wondered whether they should come on before the lights.
Yeah, come on in the darkness.
Yeah.
Because there's been music to
Yeah,
to cover that,
Cover that.
the change you've seen anyway, hasn't the Carol?
and you've got the church bells. And the other thing is you've got the church bells need to switch off when, and Chris is going to put a knob on the.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get him
Okay.
to do all that tomorrow. So it needs to be a sharp cutting off.
I'll tell Mark, yeah, 'cause that should be a visual.
It's a
It
visual
didn't go off,
cue.
it didn't go as quickly as she turned it off.
Yeah.
rinsing out.
Now, you know when the spinster, she's all her attention is on her knitting.
I have
Do you
said,
want that, or do you want her to watch what they're doing? You know, so she could be knitting, but watching them. Well, or what do you think?
at first we had a sort of interacting with them.
They need to
And
go
then
into
it's
the
like,
bridge,
well,
that bloody
no,
thing
she's
that's
supposed to be on the sidelines in their conscience and moving the pot along and narrating. Because she did it when the flowers came on, she turned around and she went, oh, lovely flowers, and it looks really odd when she hasn't done that throughout the rest of the play.
But I just felt, you know, the idea that she's in the background, great, but she should be observing them,
Yeah,
I thought. And at the moment, she's not, she heads down knitting. I said, can you knit without looking? She said, yes. So I just wonder,
yeah, what I've suggested.
I mean, I don't want to, if you want it, you know,
What I've suggested is,
she's getting better.
yeah, I know, it's almost like night and day really, but, it's like, oh, you miss Agatha, and it's sort of, not even, because at the moment it's concentrating on the knitting, oh, I've got a line, I need to lift my head up. So
Yeah,
it's
it's got to
that.
be, yes, nodding.
Yeah,
So rather just being aware, so she's just got to make that jump, I think, into being aware, looking at them, and then,
you are in the water, it should be knitting away, oh, you are in the waters, aren't you?
yeah,
Um,
but looking up rather than looking to knitting, okay.
or rather than actually engaging with the person that she's
Yeah.
talking to. Because this is, what she's saying is supposed to be in their heads.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I know.
Well, see if she just needs, she needs to take a little bit more notice, because at the moment she's totally,
Just engaging
Separate.
in knitting.
yeah. The other thing, I wondered, you know when Agatha Christie and Margaret Rutherford enter for the press conference?
Yeah.
At the moment it's a bit creaky, and I wondered whether when they enter they should cross, and it's, oh, you go first, no, you go first,
Yeah.
and just a bit of, and
Rather
then
than coming
decide.
on into play and then moving straight into
Yeah,
play.
and having a little bit of tension between them. So if they come diagonally,
Yeah.
but on the crossover, have a bit of, not horseplay exactly, but
yeah, but I know, yeah, you've,
and just after you
over politeness.
Oh yeah, over
Through gritted
politeness,
teeth.
through gritted teeth.
Okay.
And I think Margaret Rutherford would have a handbag for that.
Yeah, I don't.
She's got nothing. Yeah.
I think she was getting a bit upset
Oh,
by the cape thing.
okay, we'll try and sort
And
something
I
out.
that cape makes you into, you know, Jane Marple. That is Margaret Rutherford
She
as
should
Marple.
take it home and have a crack.
She said that's what she was going to do. And she said, well, the other actors had 6 weeks of it. I said, well, no, she didn't actually, because we only just had it.
Yeah, she's just getting it.
It just felt a bit fraught. But anyway, she said she was going to take it home with her.
Okay. There was quite a few, I know what they were sorting it out because it's technical, but there's points, this downstage centre area that is in darkness.
whenever they're forward, I've actually told you in the beginning